I want to make this more of a roundtable discussion. Frank had to do something and was not able to attend us this morning, so he threw it on me. That's not unusual. And we wanted to talk about mindsets and kind of your shifting mindset. At least it should have shifted from where the market is and compared to where it was, because it's pretty much changed everywhere. It's just how much it's changed, and if your market hasn't changed, it's going to. Uh, that just seems to be the trend of where things are going. And in my personal opinion, I kind of use the mantra that with your mindset and stuff, you kind of need to be built for this, built for it, meaning that you have to adapt to change and focus on changes. And in my opinion, become much more of an information source than just a selling source. This is just my opinion. My opinion right now is you provide a lot of information, especially with all the videos and stuff. There's just so much stuff you can do that you can provide a lot of information and you can attract the people that you are hoping to do business with. And you got to be a little aggressive. Like I know Nate was talking last week for a minute when he was mentioning that he was circle prospecting, and how many leads and listings that he had secured from that. But that's an aggressive stance. That's not sitting around waiting and complaining that this listing isn't selling and this that I don't know. Are you guys hearing this? Particularly Michael and Nate, since we're in the same areas. I'm hearing agents say things like, well, none of the listings are selling, so I don't really want to take any more listings. So I'm just working buyers right now. I mean, that's cool and all that, but I can see Nate shaking his head. I mean, that man, that's kind of like having a store and having like no inventory. How you gonna have a
Right.
store and have no inventory? I mean, if you go to like Ralph's because you want an apple or something, Ralph doesn't tell you to get in line and they run over to Vons and get the apple and come back and sell it to you at Ralph's, right? So I mean, you got to have some inventory. If you're a real estate agent, you need some inventory, and our inventory are homes, apartment buildings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You need inventory because guess what? Your inventory is going to attract, in my opinion, a better quality of buyers than just some of the other stuff to do so. So I don't know. For me, mindset is I want the exact opposite of what I just said. I want as many listings as I can get, and I'll tell you, I'm sure like Nate with his team is on a higher volume scale than I am. But I'm pretty sure I can tell you, and Nate and I go back a long ways. I keep saying that because being on here, but we go back a long ways. There was a time, there was a time when you could have 12, 14, 15 listings, but you realistically knew you were only get two, well, there were only going to be two of them that were going to sell that month. So you had to take more listings. If you wanted two or three sales or however many you wanted that month, you needed to have that. You need to have triple that amount of listings, understanding that it's going to take longer to sell, understanding there are going to be some that fall out. And if you're trying to keep a closed minimum for your production, it wasn't like, like if you guys have been in business 10 years or less, you get a listing, it sells. If I get a listing, man, I got a sale coming. Well, you know what? There was a time that was not always the case that quickly. So, anybody have any thoughts on that? And I can get Nate and Michael and Sid, some of you guys to jump in for me. What are your thoughts right now on that and your mindset?
I 100% agree. I mean, I'm not going to chase buyers. I'm just going to try to list 3 to 4 as many properties and then, like you said, Elgin, it's great. Even if your market, if it's 20% are in escrow in a given area, 30% are in escrow in a given area, 15%, whatever that is. If you need 10 listings in that area to close 3 per month, then you need to do it. Your job is just changed to seller maintenance. Keeping the sellers. Like I've already been up this morning. My sellers, you take, and what's hard is you take somebody who you just listed, who still thinks we're in COVID, and they go, our first open house, do we have any offers for the weekend? You have to bring your mindset down, and then you've got the person been on 90 days that's like, this is your fault. And then you get the person, 6 months, what am I going to do? I'm going to rent it. Like, so you have all this different seller maintenance. But I think if we can keep the houses on the market and just not cancel them, even if they're done with lowering their price, just keep them out there. The buyers will come, the inventory will comes, and everything sells at some period. So it's just a matter of working on those price reductions until you push your seller right until they're just like, take it off the market. I don't want to sell it. You don't want to do that. So hold as many listings as you can. You'll get more attention, more buyers come in, and then you'll sell 30% or whatever. That's what I see the numbers right now, right? We've got to have about 10 or 12 listings to get three in escrow a month. That's what I'm seeing for me.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, that's
I think right now we have, I don't know, 12 or 14 listings just trying to get price reductions all the time. And I've got about that many more coming over the next 30 days. And it's a lot of it too, when you're dealing with your seller, it's being able to detach yourself from your last conversation and remember that your new conversation isn't that last conversation. So one seller that's been frustrated on the market for 90 days, 120 days, and then you've got the brand new excited seller who thinks they're going to get multiple offers. Try to set the expectation, but I do know if you go into those listing appointments negative, you'll lose the listing appointment. You still have to go into the listing appointment excited about selling their home, getting their home on the market, be as realistic as you can on the price. But if you go in there, oh, nothing's selling and you're down, you'll not get the listing.
yeah. No, you can't do that.
You can't do
Claudia,
that.
go ahead. Claudia, I see your hand up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for my mindset, I like listening to Ryan Lindquist, our star appraiser, and we have him for an hour on August 6th to be able to talk about how to explain this market to our clients. And that's going to be really powerful, a free event at Paul Frank's office on August 6th at 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's great. Good, good. You know what? Well, conversations are things that you have to have. So, like for me, well, first of all, I hope you guys paid attention and even wrote on a couple of things that Nate said. And I really like the term that he just used of seller maintenance. Seller, and that's a really a much more polite term than I use sometimes. I'm going to have to adapt to that. Seller maintenance. But he's right. I personally believe that for the buyer's agent's sake as well as your own, you have to really you can't go in there negative, like Nate said, but you also, in my opinion, you have to be very truthful. You got to be authentic. You got to be authentic. You need to do what you need to do as far as getting the listing, but you also need to tell them the truth, even if that means, for me at least, even if that means that they talk to another agent, or if it means that I thought I was going to list it on Monday, but now I got to list it on Friday because they have a couple more things that that they want to think about or whatever. And the only reason why I say that, I use the analogy. Some of you guys have heard me say this, that before, right now, when you were listing, it was like, you know what, it's like you're on a first date, and you're just going out for a minute and whatever. Nowadays, when you listen to it, it's like you're getting married. You're gonna be in this thing for a minute, so you need to want to make sure you like who you wake up to. So you're gonna be in this thing a minute. So I've also been finding that I had to talk to sellers, and as Nate said, with their is because this is what I'm finding. I'm finding that the 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 negotiations for me are starting after I get them in escrow. Because before, pretty much nobody was doing anything as far as physical inspections. Nobody was asking for closing costs. Nobody was asking for, at least what I've been experiencing with some of my transactions lately, is every stage of it has been a negotiation to get it to close. I mean, from the physical inspections to, because now some of the buyers think that they can get that the house is never, like, it's never been lived in. They want everything done to the house, like, it's like, yeah, you should have bought new construction. You ain't gonna, I mean, you're in the wrong place, and the sellers don't want to do anything, all of that. So I tried to manage that. Then, at least out here where we're at, too, we have the insurance issues, and everybody's going on the fair plan, but my client doesn't want to go on the fair plan, and I'm going to keep looking for insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So, not to mention, the normal stuff that comes up through the deal. So all of a sudden, you've gone from, okay, I'm gonna open this escrow up and pass it over to my transaction coordinator, and then I'm on to the next one. Where now I've got to maintain the escrows a little bit more, at least for the heavy stuff, than I've had to do in a few years. Is anybody else experiencing anything like that, Michael?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was gonna add to that. I think it's, the times are great. when you guys said temper your expectations and everything, I just wanted to add in as well with what Nate was saying, and with you, when we're focusing on sellers and not necessarily focusing on buyers, I've found throughout the years, if I want to focus on buyers, I go out and I'm doing all this work. Once I started focusing on sellers and start focusing on sellers and marketing, it's funny because the buyers that I attract are about the same, if not more. And then you just add in the sellers. So you're getting twice as much for the effort. It may be a little bit extra startup because you're setting up your systems, but once you get that set, you're running smooth. And then the listings are marketing to your buyers and you have inventory, like you said. So half the time when people call you, they say, hey, I'm looking for this house. If you want to open up to investors, they're going to say, hey, what do you have that's off market or what do you have coming up? So you already have that inventory that you're building that you have there. But I found in going to talk to the people when I'm doing my listing appointments and everything, what's really going to help in your mindset is that confidence. You have to have that confidence, but you only get that in knowing the market. So with this shift and everything that's coming on, you really have to know what's going up and temper expectations with everybody and let them know, hey, the market is shifted, it's shifting. My conversation with you today may be different than the one I had with you in 3 weeks. And I just want to prepare you for that. So I'm not telling you this is going to happen. I'm telling you this is the things that can happen. And I'm telling you that I'm on top of it. So if something does happen, we'll have it handled and we'll put you in the best possible situation. So we
Yeah,
can
good
have
job.
go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's great. You do have to temper their the other thing, as Michael just said, another thing, if you notice, Nate was saying the same thing. And I'll tell you what I'm doing is make sure when you have properties that are on the market and they're going to be on the market a little bit longer, so you might as well start in the beginning. And if the house sells in multiple offers the first day, nobody's mad. You're not mad. They're not mad. That's great. But preparing them for the fact that is not as strong of a possibility maybe as it was previously. The other thing that you have to do is really make sure you communicate with all of your clients, whether especially the ones the were sellers and buyers for that matter that you've got under contract. Because the reason why I say that is the information that they're getting outside of when they're talking to you, they're catching a lot of noise. So they already see whatever's being said on the news. All of them have a friend that's telling them that it's a seller's market. I can't believe that your house hasn't sold yet. What is your agent doing? Is your agent doing this or is your agent doing that? Oh, my cousin's house sold in 15 minutes, and I can't believe it. It's nowhere near as nice as yours. See, they're getting all of this noise. They're getting all of this noise. So if you're not staying in constant contact with them, same on the buyer side. You got buyers under contract, and and maybe they still are not able to have found a home that they like, or they're hearing the noise of nothing selling right now. You should go in 10 to 15% below whatever the current list price is because you're going to be able to get a deal. If you guys aren't hearing that stuff yet, it's just because you're not talking to enough people because that's what everybody else is telling them. Everybody else is telling your buyers and your sellers all of that stuff. Right. So you need to make sure that you're in communication with them so you can continuously control the narrative and that they can continuously believe you as their professional. And I mean, you tell them little stuff like, for me, I will tell myself, hey, you know what? I got 5 calls on the listing this week. That's 5. But none of them wanted to see the house or whatever the case may be, but they know something's going on. They're getting reports from us. We send when I send reports out to our clients. We send them out once a week. I'm making sure though that particularly for some of them, I'm trying to talk to them every 3 to 5 days or so. And it could be a quick text. Because remember, it's different now. Back in the day, we had to have a whole 30-minute conversation every time we talked to them. Now it doesn't have to be that. It's quick text. Quick text is something. Hey Nate, it's Elgin. Listen, just wanted you to know we haven't had many contacts on the house today, but we're doing blah 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 and da da da. Let's see what happens. I'll keep you in touch. I'll keep you informed. Nate gets a text. He looks at it. He probably texts me back something if he needs to or wants to. It's a touch. He feels like I'm in control. I'm doing the best I can to get his home sold and controlling the environment. And you need to have those types of communications when you go back and ask if you sell us the price reductions. Because if you're not talking to them and you're not showing them nothing and they're not seeing you do anything, and then you go back in there and tell them they need to drop the house price of the house 30,000 or whatever, they're going to ask you why. Well, nobody's come to see it, or what are you doing, or how come you're not getting anybody to see my house? So, in my opinion, communication is really important now. Anybody have any thoughts on that? How about you, Sid? How are you handling your sellers right now? and buyers for that matter.
Yeah, so basically, you're definitely managing sellers' expectations. And as an agent, get constantly be getting the training, get training on local markets. I just went to a training with, representatives from Freddie and Fannie Mac, talk about some of the new first-time homebuyer things, because obviously they're being affected by the shift. And you know what? I took that 3-hour class, learned a lot of great first-time homebuyer tools. And in my car in the parking lot, I did a video to a buyer that I've been working with for 3 years. And I sent him a video and says, "Hey, I just want you to know there's some really powerful first-time homebuyer programs." I video in my car. You know what? I just got a text and I have an appointment with them on Saturday to get them started. So the bottom line is, as an agent, we got to keep on with the mindset is keep educated, keep informed. When managing with sellers, keep them informed of what is going on. Because irregardless, there's plenty of opportunity for all of us, but you do have to manage seller expectations.
I agree. That's great. If you notice a common theme, that Sid doing Nate, Michael, or if they're aggressive right now. They're not just kind of sitting around waiting for things. They're actually aggressive, but it's not like an overly aggressive thing. They're really just talking to people. They're having more conversations. They're having more conversations, and like Sid just said, he dropped the video in. I'm sure the video went out to more than one person, but he got one person that called and wants a consultation. I mean, you know what? If you want to do some stuff in a massive scale, it doesn't have to cost you any money. Man, video is cool. Video is really cool. You guys have to, and one thing that Michael said too is you really do need to have some confidence. You need to have confidence because nobody wants to work with somebody that doesn't have any confidence. They look at you, and if they, in for lack of better words, because I'm being real today, kick is if you come in there kind of soft and flaky and with no lead to you, no confidence, you're not inflicting any confidence in that client to follow you. Even if you have them listed or as a buyer or seller, they're not confident that you can get the job done. And you get to depend upon the personality of the consumer is if they do business with you, they're going to be doing business with you because they feel like they can run you over, or they feel like they can get a kickback from your commissions and all the other stuff that comes into play. So you definitely have to have confidence. Definitely have to have confidence. So what is that, Ralph? You said open houses?
Yeah, we're talking about sorry I came in a little late. We're
That's
talking
okay.
about seller's market and controlling the seller.
Yeah, actually, and mindset because it's just the market's changed a little bit. So we weren't talking about a specific lead generation strategy. We're talking in general, just as far as, but we were talking sellers in particular. Maybe be taking at least some of the areas that we're at. We're seeing more inventory. We're seeing it take a little bit longer for some of the homes to sell than they used to, and kind of
So
managing that expectation for the seller.
so what I've been noticing is that it's easy for me to do open houses for other agents, right? Because most agents don't do open houses on their listings.
Hmm.
So they have a seller listing and it's sitting there, they're getting no attention from it. They're not doing open houses. They're just kind of, you know, I got it listed. Just like putting signs out there like, slapping dominoes. Okay.
Right.
But then they don't even have other people on the team doing open houses, or they don't even reach out to the world or workplace or Slack now and say, hey, I've got open houses available. Who would like to go and promote it? There's enough new agents out here that would love to go social media viral and market, you know what I'm saying, in an open house. Okay. There's another thing that we're not doing is getting referral partners involved in the open houses because referral partners like insurance agents. I mean, obviously, if we're not selling houses, they're not getting insurance rates. They're not insuring houses either, right? Because if our house market's down, they're probably keeping insurance on the people that are existing, but they're not keeping insurance on new houses, right? So, invite an insurance agent to market with you. Maybe have an insurance agent. I was an insurance agent for 13 years. I can count on my freaking both hands how many realtors ever came into my office. Actually, on one hand, you know what I'm saying? How many realtors ever came to my office and said, hey, if you ever got a client that wants to sell or maybe buy a house, you know what I mean? Invite me to their open houses. Would you like to come to my open house with me? Go live. That way, you know what I'm saying? You can get some exposure. I can get some exposure. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Your own clients that you're insuring may say, hey, I saw you at that open house. Are you selling how, you know what I'm saying? Can you help me buy a house? Right. And then I'll insure it as well. Mortgage lenders. There's another one. You know what I mean? Get a a referral partner as a lender to come to your open house. I mean, obviously, if we're not selling houses, you know what I'm saying? People aren't buying new houses, right? So, you know what I'm saying? When someone sells one, they got to buy one. And if they're selling it and, you know what I'm saying, you have a lender that's getting people pre-approved, it's like, hey, guys, we got plenty of houses available. I mean, that's your referral partner. You know what I mean? He can talk to his clients. So, getting involved, it blows me away when I see people go to an open house and they sit there for 2 hours by themselves, especially I would say, women that are at an open house by themselves, which is completely unacceptable when you can have referral partners helping you out, maybe another business partner helping you out. I mean, we're on the entrepreneur spirit where we're trying to scratch each other's back, right? Have a roofing company, you know what I'm saying? Guy, come and hang out with you. Roofing people like to knock on doors. That's another thing. People's like, you're hearing these clickbaits about, why knock on doors? Buy leads, blah, blah, blah. Your neighbors don't even know you have an open house. You didn't even knock on the door and said, hey, I was knocking doors the weekend before last, and I was telling the people that I was selling this house. And she said, well, that's how I bought this house. My daughter told me that someone was selling a house down the street. So that's why I bought this house. So, your neighbors, I mean, when you see someone replace a roof on a house in your neighborhood, you think automatically that your roof is going to need to be replaced. So if you're knocking on doors, you're going to find that if someone thinks that they don't know if you sold the house or when you're going to sell it, they're going to ask you, how much is that house selling for? Great. Maybe they want to sell their house too. You know what I mean? So there's a whole bunch of different things I think that people are not doing or just sitting with their hands under their, cross and just not doing anything. Not saying anything from the market, not taking away anything from the market. I've got a few listings that's sitting a little bit longer, but I mean, I'm getting some activity on them. I'm getting people look at them. That's another thing we're not doing. Calling your reverse prospects. I mean, I have got my team calling all the reverse prospects on the MLS and said, hey, call these realtors and let them know I have this house on the market. So she said, you know what I'm saying? She said they're calling 200 agents. Hey, listen, we got this house on the market. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know. If it's your buy box, it's a reverse prospect for you. It shows that you actually have a client that fits this buy box on your reverse prospects, on your listing. So how many of us do that? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different ways that, not saying that people aren't doing it, but there's a lot of different ways that, maybe we could kind of accelerate that process because I believe activity creates momentum. I don't really think, what I'm saying, as far as I don't dive into the excuses of the market slow, it's bad. Trump just got, what I'm saying, blasted by Epstein, what I'm saying, tariffs. I don't care about any of that.
No, no, actually, you're the what you it's funny what you described though is really the way real estate was done before the internet was so hot because you did have to knock on doors or make calls. You did that. One of the things that you just said though, also, which I hope you guys took some notes on, is how he mentioned an insurance agent. I also think as realtors we can learn by looking, watching, attending trainings or stuff from other professionals that are not realtors because they run their businesses different. Unfortunately, sometimes as realtors, we don't necessarily run a good business, but you can actually go and see someone that may be a car salesperson or may be an insurance agent or maybe just something. And it could be something that is not necessarily a 1099 type of a job. It can be something else, but you'll be able to incorporate some things and build some connections. And the good thing about incorporating and building some of those connections is everybody else is not doing them. So when you're only going to a for sale by owner training or an expired training or anything like that, nothing wrong with any of that. And you all should be doing whatever it is. But look outside the industry too. Look outside the industry. And I would say to you as well, as I tell people to pick like three things. Pick three things from a lead generation standpoint that you'll do consistently. Because you can be like a kid in a candy store. Pick three things so you should be three things that you like, but you like enough that you'll do it consistently, and yes, in your mindset, we were saying it earlier before Ralph came on, is you have to have positive thoughts. So whatever affirmations you're saying to yourself, and if you're not saying them, you should be. Whatever books you're reading, you need to have things that are feeding your mind, your heart, and your soul positive stuff so you can come off with positivity, like Nate was saying when you go on your appointment. You don't walk into your listing appointment with, "Oh man, so why you want to sell your house? You know, right now houses ain't selling. Why you want to put your house on the market?" So you can't you can't go in there like that. You can't go in there. You have to go in there with a positive attitude. Be authentic, in my opinion, where you give people their options. You educate, you inform, and that will take you guys, it'll take you a long way. I know that we are at I don't know where we're at time. I guess we're running into the time where Frank normally
Let me jump real
takes the
quick,
call off, but
Elgin,
I
and
was
just
going to say, go ahead, Mike.
say,
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
okay, sorry. I was just going to say that, guys, another mindset just to build on this is, with any challenges that we have in the market, any challenge that comes up, this is our opportunity to brand ourselves and really to grow. I mean, if you really see that you got to see, if the market is super easy, people say, "Oh, they sold my house." They just put on. They didn't. My agent didn't do anything. You know, any opportunity. Hey, that it was challenging. The houses are staying on the market, but my agent was on top of me. He called me all the time. They let me know what was going on. Whenever an issue came up, they had it handled. We did it. That's what makes your brand stronger. And so when the market slows, whenever, this is your chance to really grow your brand. And then if it shifts again, you're right. You're not if when it shifts again, everything's coming, but you have a strong brand just built because you're doing what it is. So you have to really dive in and lean into these opportunities as they're coming. This is a great opportunity to really grow your business, and not only just with your clients, but also with other agencies, with other agents, if you ever want to build and do some agent attraction.
Absolutely. All of those are great points. And remember that when the market does, quote unquote, maybe it slows a little bit. And slower, when I'm saying slower, meaning that it takes, on average, the homes a little longer to sell, because everything sells eventually for at quote unquote whatever the right price is at that particular time. But when it takes a little bit longer, maybe for some homes to sell, if you're doing the stuff that Michael's talking about, that Nate's talking about, and Ralph was just talking about, some of the stuff Sid was mentioning with some of his ideas earlier, what you're doing is you're taking not only a market share, but you're taking mental share. You're taking mental share from potential buyers. You want to make sure that during those times when the other agents, like Ralph mentioned, maybe they aren't doing nothing. They're sitting there with, maybe they do have a few listings, maybe not. Whatever the case, if you don't have any listings, they're really just sitting around and they're not marketing. They're not doing anything. They're not making calls. They're just, kind of waiting and hoping that it turns into a market that's favorable for them. That's the time that you are able to build that brand better, and you are able to lean in and take that market share and that mental share for when the market, because when the market does open up, because sometimes the market opens up for whatever reason. What if all of a sudden interest rates drop? Who knows, they will or not? Let's suppose they drop to 2% tomorrow. Well, guess who's going to benefit? The people that are going to benefit from that are the people that are already positioned to benefit from it. You don't get to now, oh, it's the interest rates of 2%. You get to jump on the treadmill, start running really, really fast, and I'm to be in shape. You have to already be in position for when those opportunities happen. So one of the things you keep doing, man, you keep your mindset good, keep your focus. Like I said, you can if you've noticed EXP, if you've noticed our company, look how many changes the company has made over the last 6 to 8 months or so. The company stays nimble. The company is, particularly for a company as large as ours. I mean, 80, 90,000 people we got, whatever it is now. I mean, the company is continuously moving and putting things into place for us as agents to win and succeed. Well, we have to do the same thing with our business, is our personal business. We have to put ourselves in position to succeed at whatever's going on. So if the market is taking 60 days to sell a house, well, that means I need a few more houses for sale so that I can get them sold in 60 days. And all of a sudden, if that 60 days drops down to 30 again, it just means I'm selling them faster and I'm great. My smile is larger and faster. That's all. But but consistency and a lean on lead generation, lean on relationship building, build those relationships, get that mental share and that market share, and you will see where you're at 60 to 90 days from now. Just you'll see where you're at, because right now the things that we can do that can actually build our business, we have the time and the opportunity to do so. Anybody got anything else they want to say? Any questions, any comments? Give them to me now or forever hold your peace. Go ahead, Jason.
I like to tell people, I like to, especially, the three people that I recruited this month and everyone else I talked to now, that when I got my license in '03, I got my license while the market was on its peak, going up. And because of that, I missed out on all the opportunity of the climb. And so I just showed up with like 100 other agents in the same brokerage in that same month, and it was completely pushed out of the market because I had no idea what I was doing. And I told new agents that I don't want to miss that again. I want to be on the side where we're low and we're learning how to work in a harder market to work in, so that when the opportunity starts happening and the market starts climbing, we're there for the opportunities, and we're already set and ready to go. Versus people, and here's the other thing: as far as recruiting, all these people that are jumping out of the market right now, you're going to be able to pull them back in as the market starts climbing because you're already here, and you're already persevering, you're already pushing through, and you're already still working. So
Good job. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody else have anything else? Go ahead, Michael. Did you just say so? Oh, I'm sorry. Obviously for any of you guys that are out here on our side of California, Michael and I will be hosting at the IHOP tomorrow. So normally it's Thursdays when we've done it, but it is tomorrow. So you guys should have gotten your texts and stuff or whatever. Bring someone, tell somebody. Everybody take a moment today and just text one or two people and say, "Hey, are you coming to the IHOP tomorrow?" Let's build that up. For some of you guys that are outside of the area, if you've got some agents or you've got somebody that you want to plug in, somebody you want us to talk to, someone you want us to get the EXP experience, but it's not just on EXP. We're doing some training. Feel free to just have them come. Let us know so we can make sure they get to eat.
What area are you in? What area are you in?
I am in Santa Clarita, so Valencia. I'm in Valencia, and you guys are more than welcome to that. Also, and I don't know if Michael knows, we're also going to be adding an additional Zoom that we're doing besides the one that we're doing every Monday here on the Winner Circle, where all of you guys will be invited to that as well. So anything anything has my name on it or that I'm doing, just know you guys are always invited, and you're always invited to invite someone. And if you need someone to talk to someone, if you've got an agent and they want to hear another story, or you want them to talk to somebody, a three-way call, all of that type of stuff, more than happy to do those types of things. I just met one of Sid's recruits. We were laughing about him, but man, I met with this guy in, I don't know, about 2.5 hours, and he was brand new. Brand new. We met with him for 2.5 hours, and we talked and do what we need to do, and he did. He has signed up with Sid, and that's that. So we're a team here. So if you need something, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all here to help and assist. Because like I always say, there's no revenue to get if there ain't no revenue. So we have to produce some revenue. That means we got to help some people as agents. That means we got to help families to get into their homes. We got to help investors. We've got to help. The more people we help and serve, the money is just a product of that help and that service that we give. So I'm always here to help. Go ahead, Sid.
Hey, quick question, a little bit different topic. Is that only in California where you have to show your license number, or is that nationwide? Because I might have missed that memo, but I'm noticing that trend.
California.
Yeah, California, we have to. I don't know about nationwide or not, but California, we're supposed to have our DRE number and all that on everything from Facebook to business cards to everything. I don't know anything that we're not allowed to have our DRE number on anymore.
Okay, so you guys don't know if it's other states or not.
No, it's not. It's only
Thank you.
California.
but
Okay,
it might be other states.
Yeah, you just have to check with their DRE. It's our Department of Real Estate. It has to do with advertising, and it's first point of contact to make sure that you have everything there. So it's just set up with their rules and guidelines for that.
All right.
Awesome. Y'all could have jumped in and said that before I had to jump in and say a whole bunch of stuff. Y'all could have jumped in and just said that and I could have held on to my breath. That's 45 seconds of breath I will never get back the rest of my life. But thank y'all. I really appreciate that. Hey,
But
you
it's
gotta have some fun with this stuff.
more of us hearing your voice.
Hey, man, you have to have some fun with this stuff, right? Gotta have a good time. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming, and we'll be on next Monday. Obviously, I think Frank will be back, so you don't have to hear me just ramble on and do what I do. But I am here to help. So I hope that you guys got a little something out of this. I want to thank you guys for all participating and coming and showing up, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yes.
Well, bye everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.